Subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon, to never miss a video from us.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this course on Selenium. In this lesson, we will have an overview of Selenium, and learn about its applications in testing web applications through automation, and automating web-based administrative tasks. We will learn about the tools and components of Selenium first, and then take a brief look into how Selenium automation testing works. Then we will move on to further topics in further lessons.
So, what is Selenium? Selenium is an open source, and one of the most well-known automation testing tool for web applications. In simple words, Selenium automates browsers. It can work with Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and can simulate a human-like behavior. Selenium can interact with different components of the web page and can quickly catch new as well as reappearing old bugs. Selenium is not limited to just testing, you can also automate mundane web-based tasks with it. Here are the skills required to learn Selenium. First, you should know a programming language like Python, Java, C#, JavaScript, Ruby, Kotlin, etc. Second is network awareness. Third, knowledge about web applications. Fourth, you should have minimal viable skills for automation. Fifth, software management. Selenium is not just one tool, or API, but it composes many tools. First is WebDriver. If you are beginning with desktop website or mobile website test automation, then you are going to be using WebDriver APIs. WebDriver uses browser automation APIs provided by browser vendors to control browser and run tests. This is as if a real user is operating the browser. Since WebDriver does not require its API to be compiled with application code, it is not intrusive. Hence, you are testing the same application which you push live. Second tool is the IDE. IDE, or Integrated Development Environment, is the tool you use to develop your Selenium test cases. It's an easy-to-use Chrome and Firefox extension, and is generally the most efficient way to develop test cases. It records the user's actions in the browser for you, using existing Selenium commands, with parameters defined by the context of that element. Third tool is the Grid. Selenium Grid allows you to run test cases in different machines across different platforms. The control of triggering the test cases is on the local end, and when the test cases are triggered, they are automatically executed by the remote end. After the development of the WebDriver tests, you may face the need of running your tests on multiple browser and operating system combinations. This is where Grid comes into the picture. Let us look at the components of Selenium now. Building a test suite using WebDriver will require you to understand and effectively use a number of different components. As with everything in software, different people use different terms for the same idea. So here is a breakdown of how terms are used in this description. API, or Application Programming Interface, are the set of commands you use to manipulate WebDriver. Library is a code module, which contains the APIs and the codes to implement them. Libraries are specific to each language binding, for example, .jar files for Java, .dll files for .NET, etc. Driver is responsible for controlling the actual browser. Most drivers are created by the browser vendors themselves. Drivers are generally executable modules that run on the system with the browser itself, not on the system executing the test suite. Some people refer to the drivers as proxies. Framework is an additional library used as a support for WebDriver suites. These frameworks may be test frameworks such as JUnit or NUnit. They may also be frameworks supporting natural language features, such as Cucumber or Robotium. Frameworks may also be written and used for things such as manipulating or configuring the system under test, data creation, test oracles, etc. WebDriver talks to a browser through a driver. WebDriver passes commands to the browser through the driver, and receives information back via the same route. The driver is specific to the browser, such as Chrome driver for Google's Chrome. The driver runs on the same system as the browser. This may, or may not be, the same system where the tests themselves are executing. This figure is an example of direct communication. Communication to the browser may also be remote communication through Selenium Server, or Remote WebDriver. Remote WebDriver runs on the same system as the driver in the browser. Remote communication can also take place using Selenium Server, or Selenium Grid, both of which in turn talk to the driver on the host system. WebDriver has one job, and one job only: communicate with the browser via any of the methods above. WebDriver does not know a thing about testing. It does not know how to compare things, assert pass or fail, and it certainly does not know a thing about reporting. This is where various frameworks come into play. At a minimum, you will need a test framework that matches the language bindings, for example, NUnit for .NET, JUnit for Java, RSpec for Ruby, etc. The test framework is responsible for running and executing your WebDriver and related steps in your tests. Now have a detailed look at Selenium. Selenium controls web browsers. Selenium, at its core, it is a toolset for web browser automation that uses the best techniques available to remotely control browser instances and emulate a user's interaction with the browser. It simulates common activities performed by end users, like entering text into fields, selecting drop-down values, checking boxes, and clicking links. It also provides other controls such as mouse movement, arbitrary JavaScript execution, and much more. One interface to rule them all. Selenium support a common interface for all major browsers. Web browsers are incredibly complex, highly engineered applications. Selenium allows you to write several lines of code to perform a complicated workflow, and these same lines will execute on Firefox, Internet Explorer, Chrome, and all other supported browsers. Tools and support. Selenium's minimalist design approach gives it the versatility to be included as a component in bigger applications. The surrounding infrastructure, provided under the Selenium umbrella, gives you the tools to put together your grid of browsers, so tests can be run on different browsers and multiple operating systems across a range of machines. Imagine large number of computers in a server room, or data center, all using browsers at the same time, hitting links, forms, and tables, testing applications all day. Through the simple programming interface provided for the most common languages, these tests will run tirelessly in parallel, reporting back to you when errors occur.